Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Sanaparatna. Grab your favorite drink, get yourself a snack, and we will get started. Today, I'm currently sitting in a dark room because I'm not ready for the day, but I do have toasted coconut almond black tea. It's kind of a full mouth of words, but it is one of my favorites. I actually went out and got a brand new box because I'd run out, and it's been several months since I've had it, and I'm like, you know what? It's time for toasted coconut almond black tea. Here we go. And then I got some little Twizzler nibs in the shape of hearts because anything that's in the shape of a heart is just fun and cute. And so there we are. There's my snack for the day. Well, let's get real. It is 2025. Am I ready for 2025? I'm not 100% sure, but it's here, ready or not, right? Isn't that the problem with the new year? Is ready or not, here it is, and you are just deep in it, and here we go. So 2025 is the year that my daughter graduates. It is a year I've been looking forward to for 18 years because I knew it would be a special year for her, a year that she goes off to college, a year that she graduates. And so there's been a lot of pressure on this year, the year she turns 18. Like, it's just the whole thing, right? And so I have kind of like put my head in the sand. Like, I just don't want to deal with this. You know how you get there? Like, maybe if I just ignore it, it won't come. And then, boom, 2025 shows up whether you like it or not. And so I really wasn't ready for the new year. I'll be completely honest. Like, normally I have my word back in December, sometimes even November for the next year. I'm not normally this far behind. In fact, I actually thought about keeping my word from last year, which was rewrite, because it was such a powerful word for me. The word of the year really does impact my year. It is something I think about, I pray about, I work on. It is not just something that kind of just is a motivator. It really can impact my entire year. And rewrite really has changed so much in me. It's kind of insane to think about. So I was going to keep it because there's so many more things that I need to rewrite. There's so many things that I need to continue to put before the Lord and say, Lord, is this how you want this to look, or do we need to rewrite this together? So you may hear about rewriting in 2025 because I think it's something that I'll be doing for the rest of my life. But I started thinking about a new word because I was like, I really didn't feel like I should keep rewrite and discontinue the same path. And I felt like God had a new path for me. Well, the last 3 months, I've really kind of been struggling. I've been struggling with just feeling alive again. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of a weird thing. But I realized that 3 months ago, I also started some new goals. And they were do all the water that I need to do, which I drink about 100 ounces, 75 to 100 ounces of water a day, to do 5,000 steps every day. And I started not eating in the evenings, which was where all of my calories actually came from. So I don't eat after dinner, and then I eat breakfast the next morning. So I normally ate all of my calories in that time frame, which was fine, but I really felt like I needed to like take a step for myself for health and see how it would work. And honestly, I have not seen a lot of progress. You know, it's really kind of a frustrating place to be. And I mean, we can talk about it for, all the things and go down like, oh, but are your clothes fitting better? And, just all that kind of stuff. And I see that. I know that. Yes, there's been some progress. I think I've lost like 11 pounds, which is great. Am I snuffing at that? No, I'm not. It just has been a lot of work. And I've been constantly spending all of my time thinking about it. Like, I've almost to the point that this is going to sound stupid, that I just couldn't even make another list because that was so daunting for me, the 5,000 steps and the drinking the water and making sure that I ate enough because I wasn't going to eat later. Like, it was just a whole weird psychology that I was dealing with. And as I was like, Lord, what is my word? I felt like he really didn't give me anything. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of like, okay, I had other things I'm kind of working on, so I think that's probably where I was focused more than on this word. And one day, I think I was driving. It was the first time that I'd been alone in forever, because during the holiday season, my daughter is home and my husband is home and my dog is home and I am home. And normally we're on the road, so there's a lot more of that. But during December, we normally try to stay home as much as possible to kind of recoup from the entire year. And so I had not been alone for a really long time. Like there was always someone with me. And so I got in the car one day and did a 15-minute drive to something. And I remember sitting in the car going, I'm alone. I have no one to call. I have nothing I need to do. I have 15 minutes of quiet. And I sat there and a word popped in my head while I was sitting there, because I was like, I just feel so overwhelmed by these three small little goals, which, you know what? Some of you probably do those every day without even thinking, right? So you're like, Jenny, it's not that big of a deal. And I understand it's not that big of a deal. It was just all consuming to me. And here's why. I'm an all or nothing girl. I am one of those girls that if I'm going to do something, it is going to be 100% of what I'm doing, and I don't do things by halves. Like, I just do not do anything without putting every ounce of who I am into something. And I realized that that was actually causing a problem in these small three little goals, because I couldn't go anywhere without my phone, which before this, I would leave my phone for hours at a time and not even know where it was. But now, if it's counting my steps, it has to be with me all the time, or they're quote unquote wasted steps. And so I just kind of got consumed by this. And all of a sudden, because your phone is with you, there are other distractions that I've never actually had before, because my phone was not with me all the time. And so I'm in the car for these 15 minutes of just pure bliss of quiet. I don't even know that maybe I had some worship music on. I'm not even sure I had music on. And I really felt like I need to stop trying to be perfect. I need to stop trying to do everything perfectly. And so thus, my word for the year is imperfect. I know that seems really bizarre, but I need to start doing things imperfectly perfect, because I cannot allow myself to get on the spiral of, if I don't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing. So one of the things I'm doing, because I'm walking, and right now I'm in Minnesota and it is cold. If we had gone down south like we normally do this time of the year, I would be out walking because I love to be outside. So that's something that, when it's cold, not when it's hot. I'm just the opposite of like every other person. But below zero is kind of my limit. Like, I don't like to be out when it's like below zero or even below 10. That's just not fun for me. So I have been doing something called the infinity hoop. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. If you've ever seen it, you can Google it and watch people do the infinity hoop. It is a hoot. The only problem is I've hit my dog in the head with this infinity hoop, because it's got like a weighted ball on the end that you move in circles. You move your hips around and move it in circles. And I've been doing that. And so I was doing it one day, and I kind of decided I was going to pray through the word imperfect. And I was doing it, and I got really tired, because it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of like core strength, which is super fun to try to build up when you do not have it. I'm totally kidding. It's not fun. But I got really tired, and I was like, but I haven't hit my step count yet, because I was trying to do at least half of my step count doing this infinity hoop. And I'm like, I can't stop, because if I stop today, then tomorrow I'll feel like, oh, yesterday I didn't do enough, so it doesn't really matter. And then I eventually will stop doing it, is my thought process. And I'm doing the hoop, and I'm listening to worship music this particular day. Some days I listen to a book. Some days I listen to music that keeps me moving. This day I had worship music on. And I stopped the hoop. And I just realized that I was putting imperfect in a place of perfection, in a place that didn't need to be there. I did not need to do this infinity hoop for exact amount of time every single day for it to work. I can have flexibility, which you're like, of course you can, Jenny. Everybody can. But in my mind, if I'm flexible, then eventually you stop doing it. And so it's the same with the fasting in the evening. I did something last night I have not done in years. I mean, not years, months, not years. I used to do this all the time. But last night my daughter came out and we were just chatting about life, and I was watching a Hallmark movie because that's what I was doing. And no judgment, people, no judgment. It's fine. It was a Christmas movie, and yes, we're in January, but I haven't given them up yet. Like I said, I'm all or nothing. Like, let's do this. I'm going to finish every one of these Christmas movies. We're going to do this. Jenny. Oh, I've lost my mind. Anyway, she came out and I was like, you know what? I could really go for some popcorn. And she was like, yeah, you should make some popcorn. And so it was 9 o'clock at night, and I air popped popcorn, and we had some popcorn and watched a movie. And it just felt like freedom to me. It was just like, I can do this because that doesn't mean that this streak of not eating after dinner is over and now the floodgates have opened and tomorrow I can have a pint of ice cream and 6 bowls of cereal. Like, that's not what it means. But in my mind, that's what it's always meant. It's always meant like once you've broken the rule's gone. And this word imperfect is really a test for me. And I'm really not super excited about it because I don't like to do things imperfectly, even though my husband has had a saying, and I know it's probably not his saying, but it's his saying to me because I've heard it for so many years, that done is better than perfect. Getting things done sometimes is better than doing it perfectly, because if you do it perfectly, you're never going to get it done. And that's kind of how my life has been. I have to do things perfectly or not do them at all. And so it stopped me from doing things because I'm afraid that they won't get done perfectly, so I don't do them. So for me, this is a real challenge, and I'm kind of excited about this year because I think there is a lot of places in my life that I haven't done things because I'm afraid to not do them because I won't do them perfectly because I'm not very good at them. Like last night, I made a recipe that I have not made in years, and it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is normally a crock pot meal. So I needed to start it earlier in the day, and I had completely forgotten, like life had gotten in the way. We were working on other things. And I was like, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I really want this. And so I improvised, which I never do. And I was like, you know what? I bet I can do this on the stovetop really fast. And I made up the recipe. Like, I made up the spices. I did it all and I made it up. I even used a new ingredient because it was potato soup. And normally you use fresh potatoes and you cut them up, and you put them in the crock pot and this whole thing. I used hash browns. And I was like, this is never going to work. Like, this is never going to work. And you know what? It worked. It was fabulous. It was actually the best potato soup I'd ever made. And I just went, wait a minute. This was not perfect. Could I have tweaked it a little bit? Probably. There was some tweaking I could have done, which would have been okay. And next time maybe I'll tweak it, but I probably will not make this meal again for another year because that's just kind of how this soup goes for me. Like, I have a craving for it, and then a year later I get it again. Like, but it was just a reminder that sometimes we get in our heads about being perfect. And the Lord doesn't call us to be perfect. In fact, he sent his one and only son because he knew we weren't perfect. He knew that we didn't have it all together. He knew that we didn't have all the answers. And as a mom and a woman, and I know a lot of us feel this way, we feel like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. And I'm guessing guys feel the same way. We feel like we've got the weight of the world on our shoulders and that we have to have all the answers. And you know what? That's not how God made us. God did not make us to have all the answers, to know all the things, to do everything perfectly. We are allowed to make mistakes. And so this year, you will be hearing a lot of Jenny making mistakes because I'm going to allow myself to try to be as imperfect as I perfectly can. Oh, Jenny, we'll see how this goes. But I hope that your year, as you're making goals and you're deciding on what you want to see 2025 look like, that you remember that you can do it imperfectly. You can do it and it will still be fabulous and it will still be great without having it to be perfect. It is not a year that we have to do everything perfectly. It is a year that we can jump in and say, you know what, Lord, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to go for what you've told me to do, even though I know I can't do it perfectly. It is going to be a mess and it's going to be okay. And I'm excited about my imperfect year ahead. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe not the best word to choose on graduation year, but we're going to imperfectly do this. So hopefully that was an encouragement to you. You can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram, Facebook, and Be Real. You can also find me at Buy Me Coffee at reallifewithjenny.com. If you would like to support this podcast in any way, you can go to that website, buy me a coffee at Real Life with Jenny, and you can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. All of my info is there. We are booking out into the spring and summer right now for Real Life with Jenny events. If you're interested, please connect with me and let me know so I can get you on the calendar. I would love to be able to come out and talk about being imperfect. Let's do this, right? Like, we don't hear this enough in church. We do not. We hear all of the things that are encouraging and they're really great, but sometimes it's okay to know that you don't have it all together. I mean, you listen to the podcast enough, you know I do not have it all together. So this is not a word that you're like, oh, this is shocking. But I know that I'm going to meet my goals and I'm going to go after the things that God told me to do, and I'm going to make mistakes and it's going to be okay. I might cry about my mistakes. I might get frustrated about my mistakes, but mistakes will happen. Because I'm going to try things that I've never tried before because I am going to go after being imperfect this year. And I hope you'll join me. Have a great week.